Important to make one thing very clear. I have advocated, and I still advocate, revolutionary changes. I advocate self-determination for my people and for all oppressed people. I advocate an end to capitalist exploitation, the abolition of racist policies, the eradication of sexism, and the elimination of political repression. If that is a crime, then I am totally guilty.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Social Work Saturdays. It's your girl Kim, and today we're going to be addressing the difference between mental health and mental illness. So let's get started. As I stated in my previous video, Coping with COVID-19, if you haven't tuned in yet, make sure you go watch that after this video. There is a difference between mental health and mental illness, and I felt it was important to address that within this video before pursuing any other topics in the channel, because we have to understand the terminology being used in order to grasp the information. And I just wanted to provide some clarification for those who have been using the terms interchangeably. I feel like it's important to understand the difference so that we can move forward. Now, mental health was originally defined as just the absence of a mental health disorder or a mental illness. But today we're realizing that it's not really that simple. It's way more than that. Mental health is now defined as the emotional, mental, and behavioral well-being of a person. So we've realized that mental health functions on a continuum. And what that means is you can have a flourishing mental health or optimal mental health. You can have mental illness. You can have lower capacity functioning in mental health or languishing mental health. And you can have somewhere in between. And I'll explain what that means. So flourishing or optimal capacity mental health can look like having motivation for activities, your goal setting, just having some resilience towards obstacles that you face in life, not having a lot of fluctuations in your mood. So that's your optimal mental health. Now, someone with languishing mental health or their lower mental health capacity is the opposite of that. They don't have much motivation. There is a fluctuation in their mood, so you can go from happy to sad, or you're sad for a very long time. You may experience some depressive symptoms even though you're not diagnosed with major depressive disorder. You also may not have any motivation towards any activities. You may also struggle with socializing with others. Another pointer of someone who may have languishing mental health is just how tidy their living space is, right? So they usually say that someone whose living area or living space is consistently uncleanly may show a sign of where their mental health is at that moment, right? Now, with mental illness is a disorder in the mental, behavioral, and emotional well-being of someone. And a disorder is basically a disruption. So basically, a mental illness is a disruption in your mental, emotional, and behavioral well-being, right? So there's severe mental illnesses, right? There's mood disorders, there's schizophrenia disorders, there's anxiety disorders. Now, mental illness is different in mental health, although it's a part of mental health, because mental illness has to be diagnosed by a mental health provider. And how these providers are able to diagnose is many mental health providers, such as a licensed clinical social worker or a psychiatrist, mental health counselors, they use what is called the DSM, and the DSM basically stands for the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. And within the DSM, there's basically an overview or in-depth view of the treatments, the criteria, the symptoms, the case scenarios of the specific mental health disorders, right? They also have them in categories. So it's like I stated before, mood disorders, anxiety disorders. So they have the different disorders listed in categories, right? So that's basically the flourishing, languishing, and mental illness. Now, the in-between is just saying that someone can have a mental illness and have languishing mental health, right? Someone can also have mental illness but have flourishing mental health. And what that basically means is someone with flourishing mental health who has a mental illness basically probably has learned how to cope with their mental illness in the right ways. So they have motivation despite their mental illness. They're able to move past their symptoms, and even if they are showing symptoms, they're able to have some type of motivation despite their mental illness. They're able to have a positive outlook in life, a belonging within their communities, and things in that nature. And just with the opposite of that, someone who does not have a mental health disorder or mental illness. So I'm just going to put that in that category here, the in-between, I guess. Someone who doesn't have the mental health illness or mental health disorder can have flourishing and languishing mental health as well. So it's important to keep that in mind when we're addressing these topics or these terms, because I think most people are not aware of these facts, and that is why we confuse or we compare the two as though they're the same. And I just wanted, again, to provide some clarification. So that's the end of this video, and I hope you all gained something from it. If you have any questions or concerns, any comments, please, I will leave my social media platforms in the description box. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Alright? See you next time.